Hello, I'm the Angry Spork, still inexplicably cartooned for some reason. Though I'm hardly the first person to lose a dimension in the name of comics. You'd think that if you had heard of a crossover in this medium, it would strictly involve superheroes, but that's not always the case. Sometimes people from real life find themselves interacting with our spandex-clad adventurers, like in today's review. Before hosting The Late Show, Stephen Colbert's The Colbert Report saw him take on a pundit alter ego, one that would satirize the kind of gaslighting, opinion-based rhetoric seen on certain news channels, some in more abundance than others, if we're being honest. In 2007, Colbert started a bid for president, attempting to run as both Republican and Democrat from his home state of South Carolina. But he called it quits after not wanting to pay the GOP's $35,000 fee, and the state's Democratic Party largely voting against his application because he wasn't seen as a serious candidate. What made them think that? I defy you to look at this and tell me he's not a credible option for political office. He said he didn't want to be president, just run for president, which will have to be viewed through the lens of nuance, given his career in entertainment. That, and there's the whole legality of one person being on two ballots. However, his campaign lived on in the Marvel Universe, with various comics showing his campaign ads and bumper stickers in the background, and even a gag where the Daily Bugle declared his victory before votes were even counted. Which is funny in that context, less funny that some non-wits have suggested and used that strategy in real life. I'm taking issue with Amazing Spider-Man number 573. Well, the backup story anyway, where the webhead teams up with Stephen Colbert in Lo, There Shall Come This Man, This Candidate. Let's see if this backup story makes us want to turn the page, or turn our heads. The issue proper is the conclusion to the story New Ways to Die, and is set post One More Day, but we can still check out the variant cover that homages Amazing Fantasy number 15. It sees the TV host web-swinging across the city with Spidey in tow. Though the world may mock other late-night cable news pundits, it will soon marvel at the mighty might of me, the spectacular Stephen Colbert! I actually don't have cable. I suppose that stupid deal with Mephisto took that from him, too. Or maybe that was the universe punishing him for selling his marriage to a beautiful woman that loved him to the devil. Written by Mark Waid, with art by Patrick O'Leaf, Serge Lapointe, and Rain Barreto, we begin in Union Square Park for Colbert's 2008 presidential rally, joined by J. Jonah Jameson, the man, kingmaker, pundit, and presidential candidate Stephen Colbert of TV's Colbert Report. The opportunity? Photo. The reception? Underwhelming. And there are only a handful of people in attendance. Hey, there are two homeless people having a rap battle on the other side of the park. How is he going to compete with that? Stephen turns to Jonah, deriding his donation of $100 with a large check that likely cost more than that to make. J. Jonah Jameson never backs a losing horse, my lad. I'm diverting all my investments into these things called NFTs. I think they're really going to pay off. The host is a bit sullen as they walk off the stage. Has the Big Apple gone rotten? I've been campaigning non-stop. Rescuing orphans, helping old ladies, killing Skrulls.
If you're not careful, you'll get us all whacked. Body in a wood chipper.
But this city's taking me, Stephen Colbert, for granted. JJ takes his leave, but not before telling him that New Yorkers can be a fickle breed.
That's right, I'm a hypocrite. Who wants a piece of me? Come on!
And he's only as good as his last headline. If he feels unappreciated, then he should give them the candidate they deserve. He can't. Thanos said he doesn't want to run because he fears politics would ruin his reputation. Walking along the street, Colbert thinks to himself that maybe his campaign really is hopeless, and no one believes he has an honest shot at the White House. With that in mind, he decides the voters won't have him to kick around any longer. Take that, you ungrateful Manhattanistas! As of today, I'm Stephen Colbert no more. From now on, I am Tom Hanks. I hear there's a lot of goodwill attached to that name. After another homage, him throwing his suit coat and tie into an alley trash can, he narrowly avoids collision with Spider-Man, knocked against a storefront window by a lucky punch. He turns to find just who sent the wall crawler flying. They say a man's life is defined by the moments which define him, when he finds himself staring through designer eyeglasses into the saliva-thick maw of his most soul-shattering fear. And, relating to Stephen Colbert's actual phobia of bears, the villain stealing from the First National Bank truck is none other than the Grizzly. Equally horrifying would have been if they used "Dreaming You're at School in Just Your Underwear Man." "What are you looking at?" I'll be honest, I'm not really digging this Snyder cut of Winnie the Pooh. Colbert decides that this is his fight, that Grizzly must be an assassin hired to take him out, despite the evidence to the contrary. Both hero and villain are perplexed as their fight resumes, and they seem to ignore his insistence that this hit job means he really is a viable candidate after all. Grizz says he needs the money. "For what? Tickets to a furry convention?" "Don't make fun of me! It's a Berenstein Bears convention. Sure, some people dress up, but it's totally different." A mighty swipe of a lamppost activates Parker's spider sense, and he narrowly pulls Stephen out of harm's way, irritated he didn't take off earlier. He drops him off on a rooftop with the host clearly still under the impression they're working together. "This is not a team-up! That's a completely different Marvel title, and it's not ongoing in 2008. Try DC's Brave and the Bold Volume 3. Maybe they have an open slot." Returning to his Earth-sign arch-enemy, Spidey gets another good hit in, but the villain grabs him, commenting that he's faster than the last time they fought, holding him tight in a, well, bear hug. The webhead seems ready with another face punch when Colbert hollers from above. He's broken off one of the stone eagles from the building he was on, and it lands right on Grizzly's face, with Spidey narrowly avoiding injury himself.
"Make way for El Kabong! Kabong!"
With the fuzzy foe, let's assume unconscious, Stephen has descended the fire escape, assuring the nearby spectators that he's okay as they cheer him on. He wasn't going to sit back and watch because of a Colbert family mantra they've forever lived by as he heartily shakes Spidey's hand. With great power, there must also come great responsibility. Other phrases we've invented were up, up, and away, Excelsior, and of course, Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat. Stephen retrieves his coat and tie from the trash, now with a renewed sense of purpose after defeating Grizzly, who totally could have been hired by Dr. Doom. And with neither he nor Spider-Man having cab fare, the story ends with the two of them web-swinging across the city and, in narration, revealed to be the pundit/host/candidates marked with Captain America's shield. And so it was on that cataclysmic day that me, Stephen Colbert, went toe-to-claw with the dark bearer of terror and emerged with the courage of a hero. On that day, truly, was mine made marvel. That was the unexpected team-up of Spider-Man and Stephen Colbert, and it's a lot of fun. Certainly one of the very few highlights of Brand New Day-era Spidey. I have zero complaints about the art. It's all around great, and they do a stellar job of fitting in Colbert's likeness, even when he's further away and his face is less detailed. It really excels in the kind of humor used by the character Stephen Colbert from the Comedy Central show. Self-aggrandizing, overgeneralizing, the hyperbole, and sense of self-importance that were seen on the rapport are all present. It makes me think that someone had to have consulted with the guy himself, or at least his writers. Or perhaps Wade was so into the show he knew just what to write and how to write it, like his on-notice list. Look, even Joe Quesada made it. I guess Steve hates One More Day too. He really is just like us regular folks. It was a nice example of a short story that still felt solid in the end, nothing important feeling left out, no real elaboration needed, and nothing too complicated. It was less a Spider-Man story, more a Colbert story, obviously. His fictional counterpart's ego on display, making it all about him, whether talking about the voters or a random supervillain attack. His dialogue and narration are funnier if you imagine his tone and inflections from his old show, and you can almost hear that eagle screech from his opening theme as that stone bird makes its way to Grizzly's head. Even Spidey saying he looks more liberal in person is a great touch. Also, kinda noble for him to face this criminal in particular. Sure, he seems to have enhanced strength, but again, Colbert is legit scared by bears, and while this is really more a guy in an anthropomorphized suit, there's something to be said about him stepping up to a phobia. In a way. I can't say much about the New Ways to Die story, since it's been a while since I read this era of Spider-Man, and Dan Slott's run on Amazing was among the comics I purged from my collection many years ago, so I might not even have this issue anymore. But this story is still worth checking out, regardless of how short and sweet it is. And just as Colbert became accustomed to his comic environment, I too should become more accustomed to being a cartoon character. I mean, I've barely tapped the potential of the wacky things I can do. Just watch! Is there someone out there, brah? Or did I just have gas? It's a whole new era for taking issue, people. I can do anything! Anything! Hey, why is the floor up there? Ah!